you'll see the world's largest species of antelope, the African eland. The eland has some of the coolest animals we have out here. There's a ton of really cool features with these guys, like those spirally horns that help strengthen that horn structure. Makes it a little bit harder to break. They also have those cool stripes on their backs. Believe it or not, that actually acts as camouflage. These guys live in the grasslands regions of northern and central Africa. So while they're all grouped up in a big herd, those lines will kind of help blur them together, just make a big blob. When a predator is running at them, it makes it just harder to get after. All those eland will scatter away and the predator has no idea what he's chasing. Guys, the eland are also some of the most muscular animals we have out here. Their legs are so strong that they could launch fully grown 2,100-pound bull 6 feet in the air. Let's follow on the journey and step right up into my boat. There on the left of my bus. They're all pretty bad. It's got like a year old from a few months. The youngest here is actually 3 weeks old. That little guy's walking to my bus right now. Towards the back. That tiny guy barely even started growing his horns. They're so married because the eland can actually give birth at any time during the year. So they're the only animals we keep in barns over the winter. Guys, I love our eland here. They're some of the coolest animals we have out here. But I am going to go ahead and start my bus. And I hope our next stop is going to be at the world's largest zebra pig.
Baby one. There's a donkey right here. One, 2 donkeys. And buffaloes.
Alrighty guys, well the next stop here in our tour will be at the world's largest species of donkey.
Be careful with that tip.
I'm going to go ahead and start talking about them while we wait for the rest of the group to make their way down here.
See, you're smart.
They
They know how to ask for the food so you don't get your bit.
It's almost like in humans. That hair will grow out to be so long that it will form natural wedlock. We give these guys the nickname the Rastafarian donkey. Guys, we have a one male plateau out here. He's at the very far left of the herd up the hill there. So that big leg brown guy with the white nose, his name is Jack.
Jack, where you at?
Much prefers Jock. Jock lives out here with his 3 wives and his now 5 baby girls. The oldest of the 2 are the ones up here on my bus. This is Dolly and Jolene here on the left. Apparently Dolly's pretty mad at Jolene. I heard she stole her boyfriend. And then the youngest of the 2, they're coming up to my bus right now. Light brown donkey, her name is Swiss Roll. And her sister right next to her name is Waffles. Hey guys, we also have 2 really young baby donkeys. If you
I see them over here.
Very tiny gray donkey. That is our baby girl. She's just 3 weeks old. But if you look even further up the hill, there's another baby donkey. That is our baby boy. He is just 2 weeks old.
I'm not allowed to watch it. If you end up falling out saying anything like that, then I would be in a lot of trouble. Yeah. Hey, waffles.
Hi, baby.
These guys were on top of the world in the medieval times. They were seen as a status symbol by kings and lords, and also very useful at plowing fields.
Yeah, they're kind of steered away from the baby bikes in there.
Along comes the invention of the tractor, and suddenly they're out of a job. We think around 1977 there were only 50 Poitou donkey alive worldwide. Now thankfully today those numbers have grown to around 3,000 to 4,000. Still just about 300 in the States. It's a very slow recovery rate because these guys actually could be pregnant up to 14 months. If you're like Tobias, we were lucky enough to have 2 newborns last year and 2 last month. That's a pretty big deal. Now I'm going to give you guys another 30 seconds or so to pet and feed the donkeys that are up here. They're some of my favorite animals of all time.
Over here. Get over here with your sister. Over here. Come on.
These are African cows, with bison, buffalo, and the babies.
Alright guys, well we are going to get going here. Again, there's also our 3 baby bison here on the right side of my bus. Again, all 3 of these guys are like 3 months old now. But we are going to pull forward down this hill. I'll talk a bit more about the history of the park. And our next stop is going to be at our elk and our fallow deer.
Hold on, we got more. You got to save it for the elk.
Nope, you're good out. Oh, hurry, don't take that off. If you guys have been here to Lake Tobias in the past few years, this field on the left might look familiar to you. So what used to be our story for the past 20 or 30 years. However, just recently we closed it off. We want those woods to regrow naturally over time. In the meanwhile, we're using the field as farmland so we can grow food to feed our animals. Instead, we've opened up what used to be our story back in the 70s. Unless you took a tour back then, this will all be completely brand new to you.
Oh, it did change. I didn't. They moved it. Because when I drove my other car,
That's what I
COVID,
say,
it was different.
Reminder.
Keep your arm in the car while you're driving.
They're just waiting for the truck to stop. That's what it is. This man. This man. Not that big. moose. Hey. Where the food at? Look at the moose. Hey, look at the moose. Look at the moose. Stop right here. Boom, boom, boom. That's him right here. Over here, over here.
Alright, guys, be nice. Stop here on our tour.
Like
The second largest species of deer, the North American elk. Hey guys, also don't need to worry about getting bit while feeding our elk here. They do not have a top row of teeth. They only have a bottom row. They do actually have both sets of molars, and they're made completely out of ivory, making them one of 2 North American animals to have ivory. You know, there's the walrus. That's where the similarities come to a very harsh stop.
That's right.
If you guys remember from earlier, I asked that please not reach out to touch these antlers. You might also notice that some of them are bony and some of them are pretty fuzzy. The reason I asked to not reach out to touch them is right now they're going from the velvet stage to the rut stage. The velvet stage is when those antlers are still growing. That velvet is that soft, fuzzy layer. It's on top of a thin membrane that holds all of those blood vessels and nerves that help the antlers grow an inch every day. Right now, all of these antlers are done growing, and right now that velvet is detaching from that animal entirely. So all those blood vessels are closing off, and all the nerves are dying. And this doesn't happen overnight, so just please still be careful about touching the fuzzy ones. It might not be fully detached, and it might still hurt that animal. However, once it is detached, it will take those antlers and scrape them off of anything they can possibly find. Like this bus, those trees, this fence, anything like that, just to get the velvet off. Now, it looks really gross, but it's completely natural, guys. It does not hurt the animal at all. Once they do that, they will become very aggressive to the other males in the herd and try and get as many girlfriends as they possibly can. See, this is known as the rut stage. Now, to do this, that elk will wear his own cologne. Yeah, he'll pee on himself. Yeah, young guys, hear my bus. Trust me, I tried it. Doesn't work. Yes, we also have a few white elk out here, mainly here on the right side of my bus. That is not albino. That is actually what's known as leucistic. There's also one of our big leucistic males there on the left. The albino animal is missing all of the pigment from its body. It has a white coat, and then it has reddish dark eyes. But a leucistic animal is only missing around 75%, but still has a white coat, but those eyes are light blue. Give me the bag. Almost like a light gray. Now, if you guys remember, like 20 minutes ago, I was talking about our lions, our male lion Kovu and our female Zuri are both leucistic animals. Instead of that dark brown mane and golden fur that lions are famous for, they have this pale white. Looks like I'm not going to have to get moving to meet these guys because they're coming up to my bus on their own. All around my bus right now, guys, you will see our Eastern European fallow deer. There are a few big differences between a white-tailed deer and a fallow deer. As many of you might know, a white-tailed fawn will be brown with white spots. As that little guy grows old, he loses his spots. That is not the case with a fallow deer. They keep all of the colors and patterns they were given at birth, and it's completely random. As you can see, there's brown ones, white ones, black ones, brown spots, white spots, black spots, pretty much any combination you can think of. Guys, by far the biggest difference are their antlers. I have a fallow deer antler here at the front of my bus. If there's any hunters here in my bus, you know that you count an antler by its points. That is, again, not the case with these guys. They have what's known as a palmated antler. Instead of counting all those awkward little nubs, you measure the width of that palm. The trophy buck is 9 inches wide. Guys, by the end of the year when these antlers shed off the mid, say, if you pick one up and give it a nice little rub, you get around 3 to 4 days worth of good luck. I don't have our fallow deer antler on the exit ramp at the end of the tour here if any of you want to try that for yourself. I touch one of these puppies pretty much every day now, and I'm still broke and single. Take that with a grain of salt. This is actually really cool, guys. All around my bus right now, they're pretty hard to point out.